Dear friends, present and connected, I really wanted to participate to this inauguration of the Spazio delle Memorie. It's a project by Marilia Bellaterra. She is president of Aref International and a national councillor of our Italia Tibet Association. Right from the start, we wanted to support and in some way to participate to this initiative that is so profound, so significant, and also so moving. I have been visiting the Tibetan world for over 40 years, and I have had the good fortune and privilege of listening many times the stories and the testimonies of those who have seen Tibet still free and who lived through the terrible years of occupation and the disaster that befell the land of snow after the Chinese invasion. Time passes quickly, and all that people, many of whom are no longer here, and just many are decidedly advanced in the age, can still transmit as a message, as a testimony, as experience, and teaching also is of vital importance for everyone, especially for the younger generation of Tibetan in exile and not. If it is true that today's young Tibetans, while fully experiencing modernity, are strongly linked to their own identity and roots. And equally true that, especially in the school age, offering them this form of sharing history through meetings, interviews, researches, in close contact with the guests of the Jampaling rest home in McLeod Ganj, represent a cultural, psychological, and emotional opportunity of great value. I was lucky enough to be able to witness these moments of dialogue between the children and the grandparents in the nursing home. I have seen so much love, so much unity, and so much determination to produce something that will be last for all of us in the future. So thanks to Marilia, to the management of the Tibetan Museum, who wanted this space that I hope will become permanent, and to all the institutions present, in particular to my friend Sikyong Penpa Tsering. Good luck, Tashi Delek, and thank you very much from Italy.
Tashi Delek and good morning. Respected Chief Guest Sikyong Penpa Tsering, Special Guest Deputy Speaker Dolma Tsering, President and Vice President of Aref International Onlus, Marilia Bellaterra, and Dr. Federico Petrozzi, Tibetan Children Village Director Tsultrim Dorjee, Jampaling Elders Coordinator Tenzin, representatives from different government and non-government organizations, and everyone assembled here today. My name is Ngo Chirin, and I, on behalf of Tibetan Museum, would like to welcome you all to today's inaugural ceremony of the special exhibition, The Space of Memories by Aref International Onlus in collaboration with the Tibet Museum. It gives me an immense pleasure to honor this remarkable audience. We have successfully completed the initial phases of the program, which includes lighting of butter lamp, cake cutting, opening of special exhibition by chief guest, followed by a brief tour given by Marilia Bellaterra and Federico, President and Vice President of Aref International Onlus. Now let us proceed with the next programs. Firstly, I would like to ask Marilia Bellaterra, the President of Aref International Onlus, to kindly give a brief introduction of the project, The Space of Memories.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Relax. Don't rush.
So, Tashi Delek, dear friends,
My name is Marilia Bellaterra, and first of all, I want to thank from my deep heart all the people who made the project, the Space of Memories, feasible. Most of them are not present today for different reasons, and their names are mentioned under credits in the project template together with the video. Between them, let me just remember the former Sikyong, Mr. Lobsang Sangye, and the former Kalons, then Karma Jalak Yutok, Department of Religion and Culture, Mr. Sonan Tokyal Korlatsang, Department of Home, Mr. Pema Yamchen, Department of Education, together with the former director of Upper TCB, Mr. Ngodu Puandu, and the former in charge of the Jampaling Elders Home, Mr. Wang Chen. All together with Mr. Chimeri Zen, former representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the Central and Eastern Europe, and for the Department of Home, Mr. Tashi Diki, Joint Secretary, and Mrs. Tenzin Thupden, Welfare Section, and obviously Mr. Tashi Punsok, former director of the Tibetan Museum, without any hesitation immediately gave us his complete trust. All of them have dedicated much more than simply time to the start-up of the project, always supporting the goal of this initiative. I want to express my gratitude to the members of the Central Tibetan Administration present today in the room for their precious support. The Sikyong Mr. Penpa Tsering and the Deputy Speaker Mrs. Dolma Tsering, and also Mrs. DolmaGyari, who I've seen in this moment. I'm very surprised and unexpected surprise. Thank you to be here. I also want to express my gratitude to the Kalans not present today, who dedicated words of great comfort and inspiration to our works and suggested us to keep expanding it in the future. Mr. Karlan Dolma Changra, Department of Education, Mrs. Dorjee Dolma, Department of Information and International Relations. I wish also to thank Mr. Jetsun Pemala, who I recently met in Italy, for her inspiring words and appreciation for the project. My deep gratitude for the continued support also goes to Mr. Tsultrim Dorjee, Director of the TCB, and to Mr. Namgyal Tashi, in charge of the Jampaling Elders Home. Without their support, the project would not have been realized at all. I have no enough words to acknowledge the continuous professional and generous personal commitment of Mr. Tenzin Thupden, the new director of this very special Museum of Tibet, where the past and the present of the Tibetan precious heritage is living throughout a bright and engaging cutting-edge technology. Thank you, Dr. Finally, many thanks to be here to some special friends of mine. I don't see Mr. Dawapunki, but I think that he will come. The director of the Hospital, Mr. Sharad Voiser, Deputy Director of the Tibetan Fund, together with Mr. Ngawangaden, President of Guchusum, with Mr. Tenzin Dolma, President of the Tibetan Women Association, and with Ms. Yudon Okatsang, member of the Parliament in Exile, today abroad, but here in Seoul. All of them inspired and sustained us more than they can ever imagine. Last but not least, let me say that I will save forever in my mind and my heart all the elders who with great generosity shared their precious memories with the students. I would now like to briefly explain to you the purpose of this project, the Space of Memories. The actual project has been partially funded by the Valdesian Table, an Italian NGO that funds international cooperation projects. The project started in Mungod, in South India, where a group of 40 elderly people, guests of the Old and Infant People Home, spent a whole day with 40 students from the local primary school. These students never visited the home, despite the very short distance between the two institutions. That day has been very moving for all of us and create, if not a real bond between the involved people, at least a sincere curiosity and a mutual gratitude for the meaningful shared experiences. After that, we thought that our small contribution to preserving the precious memories of the last living witness of a free Tibet should not be just collect some of their stories, but to create a link between the generations, so that the elders could see a better future throughout the eyes of the young students who can make it happen. During the various steps of the project before the COVID, we collected here in McLeod Ganj 12 interviews involving 19 students of the upper TCV. The students did not have a precasted pattern of questions, but only a guideline and the suggestion to feel free to follow their curiosity. During each interview, obviously, the severity of the experiences emerged, made of pain and severe loss, but above all, something else emerged, the gratitude for His Holiness and for the freedom experienced even only in exile, the resilience and the courage of those people who never stopped believing in life and in the possibility for a better future. The elders The elders warmly invited the students to never give up and to keep active and strong their present and future commitment and sharing the same experience with other young people too. What mostly always emerged during the interviews was the wonder of the students at the elders' thought and powerful experiences, their gratitude for the gift received throughout the stories and all the sincere thanks messages, hugs, tears, and smiles sharing during each interview. A mixture of emotion capable of overcoming any formal distance, just as happens in a family. For this reason also, I am very grateful to know that the video will be shown in the school so that the experience of a small group of students can be shared by many. I believe that our the elders of each of one, are the best part of each of one. The strong roots that have allowed us to grow up and to generate good fruits. And this is the reason why the young generation can be their strong wings and the person who let their dreams become true. Finally, let me shortly introduce myself and my association founded in 2003. I am a psychologist and a family psychotherapist, and I am the president of Aref International Onlus. Aref is an acronym that means Association Rina and Franco, my beloved parents who passed away almost together as they always lived. They were people of peace, everyday heroes, and daily peaceful fighters for freedom and justice. I have their blood in my veins, and I can't stop to do my best so that the human rights cannot be just an empty words. My association is very small, but I trust in the message of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, sustaining that everyone, even if very small, can make the difference. Therefore, we will continue our never-ending commitment to the Tibetan cause throughout different projects, mostly in South India, like long-distance adoptions and other actions of school, health, and social support for monks, families, individual people, and the institution too. Last but not least, let me underline our continued participation in every European publication to support the cause of Tibet, and every form of political promotion that can be activated in our country or abroad, always working together with other major associations, like Italia Tibet, for example, with which we share goals and political actions, being personally on the board since 2007. Finally, let me conclude that I will always keep in mind the strong emotions and the gratitude for the blessing received just yesterday by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. No one better than him can know the sorrow of the past, the pledge for the present, and the long-term vision for the future. Therefore, humbly sharing one of his iconic sentences, I wish and I'm really sure that all of us in our private and public actions really will never give up. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to call upon Vice President of Aref International Onlus, Dr. Federico Petrozzi, to share his experience about the project.
Buongiorno a tutti. I'm Italian. Good morning, everyone. Tassi everyone. I'm really happy to be here. You cannot even imagine, because it's 15 years I know Marilia, 15 years more than 30 years I know Marilia, and 15 years I joined the association. So just a few words about the association, because I've been enlightened by Marilia's passion, as you saw. You know, her emotions are so strong that involve everyone, and me first. So we started doing small things, you know, with this association. We support children, monks, elders at distance, and we provide some, you know, projects funded by, you know, donations, or sometimes, like in this case, by NGOs that collect monies to provide other persons opportunities, you know, to experience a better life. So I have been involved in this project since the very beginning, and I was absolutely excited because I start watching to the video, as I was saying to the CTA during the visit. I watched the video before it was translated, and I saw the passion of these girls, these students that were there asking questions to the elders, and how they were involved in their own lives. So let me say, I'm emotional too, as you can see. So please, I wrote something. Maybe I will be short. Don't worry. And you know, Marilia mentioned our organization is tiny. It's a small one, and it's a very small one. You know, but the dimension of our organization allows us to take care of tiny projects, very specific, and like they were part of our family. As you see, as you heard by Marilia, the name of the association belongs to their parents. So we leave this association and all the projects inside them as part of our family. Oh yeah, this is my first time in McLeod Ganj. I've been in India before, but this is the first time here, and I really enjoyed the stay. And yesterday I've been blessed by the visit to His Holiness Dalai Lama, together with Marilia and Tsenzin Thupden. So I really enjoyed that. You cannot even imagine how I will bring this experience in my future life. I start sending pictures to my daughters, to anyone in the world, saying, yeah, I was here. So please, I'm really happy to be here. And I invite you to watch the video, because the video is the essence of this project. You saw the pictures out there, but please, in any way, go deep into this video. Listen to the words of these beautiful men and women that left Tibet, and now stay here, and they can, they can pass their experience to the youngers. Okay, I have just a technical, may I? I have just a technical suggestion to give you for those who will receive this wonderful pen drive. This pen drive contains the video and the individual interviews, and I was just to show you, I was just right because it takes 5 or 6 minutes before to understand that to open it you just you know how do you say, turn it on.
Push it from
Push it forward, yes. It took me about 5 minutes to understand, but now I'm happy.
I thought the Italians are more intelligent.
Yeah. I'm a little bit dumb. But, you know, so, again, thank you very much for being here. And now I think I pass the words to the young lady here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, next, may I request Jishi Tinzila to give a brief introduction of the Jampaling Elders Home.
First of all, I, on behalf of the Department of Home, would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone present in today's occasion. I'm Jishi Tinzin, dealing staff of the welfare section, Department of Home, and looking after the welfare of overall welfare of the old people's home across India and Nepal is one of the main responsibility of the welfare section, Department of Home. In fact, the OPH, Old People's Home in charge, Mr. Tsultrim Dorjee, was supposed to be here to share his experience on the OPH today. Unfortunately, he is unable to present here to share his experience due to his personal reason that he has to go. He had to go outstation. So I, on behalf of the whole elders of the Jampaling Old People's Home and the Department of Home, I take this opportunity to share a brief note on the Old People's Home. The Department of Home is shouldering the responsibility of finding help and support for the welfare of those old people living in an elder care home, since there were many elders who are destitute and the ones whose family members are incapable of taking care of. Care homes had to be set up to provide a home-like care to those traumatized and helpless elders in exile, so that they can spend their life in dignity and with a sense of security. That is how CTRC, the Department of Home, has been endeavoring to fulfill the wishes of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. At present, there are 14 elder care homes located in India and one in Nepal. Where there are 575 elders who are facilitated with the provision of food, accommodation, and medical care for whole life. Among the entire elders' home in India and Nepal, Jampaling Elder Care Home, which is located in Dharamsala, is the largest elders' home run by the CTRC Department of Home, where there are 75 elders who are quite fortunate to feel the home-like ambience. The average age of the people in this home are 70 years old, among whom we normally have about 5 bedridden elders who are in need of special care. The elders' home is staffed by a team of 12 personnel appointed by the Department of Home. CTRC makes every effort to ensure that the destitute elders are not left out without care and support. Therefore, Jampaling Elders Home attempts to receive elders from various Tibetan settlements and scattered places around India, Nepal, and Bhutan, where there are no elder care homes. So Jampaling Old People's Home was established in 1992 and has been run and managed by the CTRC Department of Home with the generous support of a donation and fund rendered by the charitable organizations like German Aid to Tibetan, When Tibet Front, Tibet Charity, Save Tibet, and some individual donors whom we are indebted for their benevolent deeds. So today, from this platform, I would like to extend my gratitude to the entire team of Aref International Association, and special thanks to President Ms. Marilia for the tireless and generous support all the time. I also would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Aref International Association and the kind donors for the financial assistance rendered towards the project of water connection and water pipeline exchange and the purchase of required equipment facilities for the Jampaling OPH in 2001. Through that project, Jampaling is now free from water scarcity and benefited with necessary equipment required for the old people's home. It also helped the overall manpower workload and improved the health condition of the elders. It would not be possible as of now without your kind support. I also thank concerned association for providing stipend to 8 elders in Moonkot settlement for every year, and provided financial support with the purpose to be helpful for the COVID emergency relief in 2001. With that note, I conclude my statement. I once again thank Aref International Association for the continuous support in supporting the welfare of our exiled Tibetan community, especially for the needy and poor people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishitindullah, for the brief introduction. Now I'd like to ask Tibetan Children's Village Director Tsultrim Dorjee to share his experience regarding the Space of Memories project.
It was in 2001. My father from Tibet came to India for his Holiness blessing, and he wanted to see the Central Tibetan Administration. So I'm working in TCB, so sometimes he asked me again and again, when are you going to take to Ganj to see Tibetan government in exile? So one day we came, and then I tried to explain with my limited knowledge about TCB, about the Central Tibetan Administration here, and then he was so happy. He said that we have entire system in place if we get freedom. And he said that all this is all because of His Holiness Dalai Lama's leadership and the people working here. So in this regard, I wish to say the opportunity I have here to come to this place, and I remember his, what he spoke about Central Tibetan Administration, and then so it is a great opportunity for me to express my appreciation and respect to Sri Young, and also Deputy Speaker and Kalyan Security Department, and distinguished guests here. And I, on the behalf of 3 students here, we are here to share our experience. So I'm asked to share on their behalf, and therefore it is difficult to share the experience because I haven't had first-hand experience about that. So let me say that we are from TCB, and TCB, as you know, is a educational institution with this motto, others before self. And one of the mission of TCB is to provide a rich understanding of Tibetan culture, tradition, and values. So in that connection, our beliefs and our motto, our missions are very much in line with your association's objectives, and therefore there is so much, there's one direction that gives us to move forward, to contribute from what we can, and beside that, also I feel that in today's world we are a little bit going further away from the natural settings. We are separated, and like old people, old people, young people, children, they are separated, which is not a natural setting. Maybe it is because of the the world trend and modernization, industrialization, specialization. All this have brought about this change. And if we go with this change, we feel that we are also lacking some things, like separation. When children are separated from the old, there's a missing gap. So the idea here is to, narrow down this gap. And one of the objectives that you are doing, your actions are very much aligned with others before self, in very much line with, narrowing the gap between this. Also to kind of, give another contribution to bring closer, relationship with old and younger generation, so that young generation will also have experience of learning from the older ones. So my students, earlier they used to be more than dozen of students who have visited Jampaling Elders Home under their project, and they have learned so much, experience that I cannot explain here. Their experience is all about emotion, the relation between one another, contributing what they can to from the younger generation, what they can do to the older ones. And there are also so many things young generation also learn. So there is so much exchange, and that exchange is so valuable. And these exchanges, we, in a way, brings about a closer relationship, and with more harmonious, more compassionate relation, more supporting relationship will bring about happiness in the society. So in the end, we all, as His Holiness Dalai Lama say, that we all are craving for, happiness. And that happiness cannot be achieved by the material alone. There has to be a relation, sound relation and cooperation between older generation and younger generation. I honestly feel that today we are too far apart, Even babies are, have a separate, place to stay. Children going to school, older ones to the elders' house, and this young generation going for work. So we have some kind of a lacking of bond among us. So sometimes it is important to pause in life and also look back and what we can do. So project like your project is very much in line with this direction and contribute immensely. So I feel that we must continue, and we have done little bit in this regard, but it is not enough. So we have a strong desire to help each other, to create better atmosphere where we can help each other, support each other, and this is what I feel about sharing. And therefore, I like to thank especially Marilia Bellaterra, the president of the AREF International, and also Dr. Federico Petrozzi. Okay, for this wonderful work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tsultrim Dorjee, for sharing your experience. Next, may I request special guest, Deputy Speaker Dolma Tsering to kindly give a brief talk on this event.
Most Honorable Political Leader of Central Tibetan Administration, Sidon Cho, Aref International Onlus President Marilia Bellaterra, Dr. Federico Cho, Kalun Tang Tunjinamba, Tsultrim Dorjee, GCB Kinsi, Dagnashin Del Peveki, and the Yongla Tering. Tering the space of memory situasane tembe kuyu sigiyorwa de tentu kuyu temba di mambu shu chungul wa ngo sem nang lo ya di indu temba kang yoba dige di enu kuyu chi ki na ya chugye ya tablam kharitwe di je boye to ne di Marilia tang da Federico Petrozzi jiksu di kyu che ne e mi mangpu chi ki der Tibet fund ne zwe mi mangpu chi ki der ya tunyu nang che che rang ju ki pe nang ya mi rap che bu chu ki nyang yong ti mi rap shwe bu chu nang ro ya ani sha tu ye ki pe chun che bu ti une pe ta ti ki e khasu re bu kap ti ma zo yu ye pa shi re ti ine ma ju ki ta da pa to ma ju chi pa tu che che ne kunang ju ki ti je ki ani the space of memory tembe ku use che che she pe ne na shun choli ya jebu chu nyam nyong nye ye yu ba go ye yu ba ani chu chorwa di ani pa su chelen chi ye yu ba ti ha chang lap chen ni sam lu di du zane nge ki Marilia tang ko ju ki chik su de ya tin je chi nam pe ba de ya tu che na shue yi ta shue ba choli ya nge shue ka ri yu sina ta da kyang shun shue re temba se bu shu jo re su pu di Magi ne zene chene ne dharma cha shunpa cha gengo cha na shingi tempa di yang di nang shingi ame kokpa ne zeba ne ane kyangi leba di longa badu chiru tu gore dine tempa di sui di lo nishu di yin si gore di tenri ba chugi dine ane tempa di ma chiye di gozu gore di indu sa ne kiranzu nye gina shun choli ya kiranzu gyu cheche nye pyugyu kari shuye yin slab ina susu mitse nang ya nintu tiye di katu ine ke paksha di shaabu re stairi tiye di che san lo chenpu chane maa chimi che ta yundu sane kala gangzam mitse nang lo ya ka duwa kiwa kyowa dike di che ne la du re di indu sane kirangi ninre ki tendo di shaabu ina en kirang mitse nang ya 양조 키랑기 두주디 마직 치미지 따두선에 엔 두두 키랑기 소바다 키랑기 강에다 키랑기 아니 상조가 나바 가리 중요하게 전수기 박자 샤투에디 단다 space of memories 예디 낭라 직추루레 디 두선에 슈버추기 엔 소소수 미세 낭로리아 니토티에디 네바도 박자 매비에나 여바나로나 여비에나 무투시제네 박자디 샤로나 슈유 이 쇼구에 좀 젠가르제 라비나 먼저 데리야 첩시기 아니 탑주 지식에 미리 차대요래 탑주 지식에 미리기 아니 치글이야 다 비미 직주기 뭐를 토네 비미 직주기 자샤 남샤 강유가 띵은 줄기 아니 이도리야 직샤기요래 이네 치조기 엔낭리야 디캅라 먼저 겹줄이 예배 가로 지속이 자샤 가리도 디 아니 먼저 그 좀디 차창고 소엘이야 다 디기 람덱 슈고요레 비미 직속이 내주 딘데지 카세기도 이내게 델이야 미망기 좀 딘데시도 디 튀음 하드 디기 아니 루큐기 아니 닥터를 다 방고치 그래 와디 인도산에 말한 주기 미래 모래기 수수기 다 네 가르슈고였으나 먼저 베디 개미전 주체자 뭐 중하고 로리야 다 먼저 미 tamang shu sebrwa 1.2 million tang ju dikabya bet de cham chu chi de gu chebe ki ani ki ki chorwa da dungme da shenang da de di ta da da de lo kong de ju ku chu tun ju ye ba chu ki ta wo su nyang tong de ki ani me ti ye cha de de 이 인도산에 고난 쪽이 강 고난 소리 양만 주는 신기 록종 지역 고급라요 말했대 이내 뒤 좀디 콘주기 셈낭 로리야 단단히 맞지지 내 대유디 아니 만난 쪽이 디기 템바디게 아니 냐하고에다 템바 강의 여버디게 아니 이도로 파니 내에 고난 쪽이 무슨 숭배가 남바부터네 아니 냐사 지고에디 다 개침 슈차돼요 다 당당 먼저 가르치기로 했으나 먼저 아니 다 내주당 아니 장주기 주리야 내유스고와 we live in digital age 봐 digital age 나로리야 data 생기기 개체슈차고래 data가 내용고요서는 내주 좀 되는 내용고요래 내주기 매번 있는 data 배주요 말 장주 동발이 디인도 말하는 줄 미래 모래기 좀디 enganje nejuti nyabche changje nala lu tuba ina changje di ki tone enganje be miri ki tabje be miri ki ene kasore tamanje ki jangoro muchi shawoliya mebane yoba kandesu yobane tabe kande tangyo di jumdi nganje ki belu yobe shilu pinda soliya ane sungye ki nganje ki tendo shatu bres di indusane ngeki 가수라다 말해기 개침부를 지기요 다가나신 밴덴 시종초기 아주 비밀 직수디다 가수래 정주그나도 주게기 배전신앙 수두산에 말하는 저기 정주되는 세나 균에 지기요 말해 아주 배바초기 비밀 직수기 장도 스튜디오 아주 세나 슈직 독반남도 슈치기도 와 아주 처음이야 온라인 nhập 자식 교육위원회에 걔랑 우간에 무이스등기 위원회에 걔랑 아니 락바이나를 여백이 아니 락도 카바디 나네 걔랑기 좀 간제치다기 위원회에 디캅래야 걔랑기 terms condition 나 agree 지기나 걔랑기 information 참고 컨트롤 되기요. 근데 소소 직소 되는데 인데 네마도 가인세나 정도디 취소 대전 주비에 있네래 취소 약에 땅에 있네래 취소 착주 수에 있네래 막답기 처시지에 있네래 탑주 등에 있네게 정도디 매도 이런 거 차도 유두산에 네바도 비미추기 드링기 디규 제전에 아니 정도 때에야 소소 정도 나라 취매비나 네바도 취 마송스제 소소랑기 산에 군신다 대전 그냥 매비 있네게 소소소 갱키세 정도 나라 용예디 Now I'm sorry, I'm talking too much in Tibetan. May I switch to English now?
No, fantastic.
They understood everything.
Me too.
Okay. So you understood Tibetan, but still for my own satisfaction, may I talk a little bit in English? I'm very grateful, Marilia. Beautiful Marilia, I say, and then Dr. Federico. I mean, you have brought this space of memories to Tibet and Tibetans because the thing that was so much within us, we never realized to do it, to connect the senior citizens with the youngsters, sharing of experiences and all. So this is such a marvelous experience for them, I'm sure, and for the completion of the total history of Tibetan community in exile and for our struggle. So that means a lot to us. And I thank you too, and all those like Tibet Fund and all who have funded for this ongoing project. I think we are in a state of refugee in India, in Nepal. So we are fighting for a cause, and for this cause to have information about the fears, about the sadness, about the tears, to have everything documented is very important for the completion of the story. This will be the force for us to plan any action, be it political, be it social welfare, or be it to making a strategy for our cause also. This will play a big role. So I was telling to our youngsters to maintain a diary of their own so that you don't lose the nuances of your childhood. When you look back, when you become like of my age, you forget a lot of things. You eat just now and still you feel, oh, I need to eat sometimes. But you won't understand it now. So to have a diary, inculcation of writing a diary is very important for the youngsters. Because whatever documentation we have as a Central Tibetan Administration about the welfare projects of Tibet, it should complement with the stories from the Tibetan individual communities and organizations. When these all club together, then our story becomes whole to authenticate what was the kind of suffering we underwent, what was the kind of challenges we had, and how we passed those challenges to come into such a thriving Tibetan community under the guidance of His Holiness. Therefore, I thank you so much. And then I was talking about the importance of information and data. We live in the age of, it's a digital age. Each one of us, we have a smartphone with us. The connectivity has become so easy now. Whatever is happening around the world, whether positive or negative, with just press of a button, you could hear it, see it. Within your own family also, the distance has shrunk so much. You can video call and have a meeting with your families, with your friends, with your classmates or whatever. But then, whenever you enter into these smartphones, you are sharing your data to those, right?
Yeah.
So the Tibetans should not hesitate to share their data, the minimal data that Central Tibetan Administration is asking for, well, for the welfare projects. So if we fail to share to the concern who is taking care of our welfare, I think that is not proper. That's what I feel. I may be wrong. Therefore, our present Sikyong is taking too much of importance on collecting of data, and so sometimes the data are not up to the mark. There seems to be a little bit of incorporation within our own community. So I think we need to really pay attention about this. So we say that we are the voice of the voiceless. We are in a free world, and we tend to be the voice of the Tibetans who are inside Tibet. So are we well informed about the cause of Tibet? Here also the information comes. Here also the memories count. So to be the voice of the voiceless, all the Tibetans need to pay attention on the core issue of Tibet cause and use your smartphones to learn about the things that are happening in Tibet, around the world, and in China. So are we doing enough? Have we told our stories enough to the world to know our narrative? Let's put this question to ourselves. I'm putting question to myself. So have we done enough? Do we need to do more? I think these are some of the things we need to really ponder upon and act accordingly. We are not here to stay as a refugee. We didn't come here just because there was a famine or we lack eating the foodstuffs. We are here for a cause, and our brothers and sisters are still reeling under the atrocities of China. So how best we can use the information, use the the memories that we get from our senior citizens to make our contribution in the social media at least. If we can really do publication in the print media, is well and good. Congratulations. If not, at least in the social media, hashtag Free Tibet. Are we doing it? I think we need to really work harder on using social media for the promotion of Tibetan cause by the Tibetans. There are people who support Tibetans who are more active in the social media who tell us you have to be doing more. So I think this is kind of a reminder for us through the work of the space of memory that we need to do much more, each one of us. So with this, I won't take much of your time. I thank beautiful Marilia and Dr. Federico. I thank the organization as a whole, and I want to thank the Tibet Museum Director for this wonderful collaboration, and I want to congratulate you all for this wonderful job. It's going to go a long way, and your contribution is just not small, it's just so vast, yeah? And so you are making an impact in lots of the lives and lots of the people around you, and through us too, much, much more. So congratulations to all of you, and even I congratulate the Tibet Museum for the recent virtual pilgrimage. That's wonderful to have it. That's very innovative. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker Dolma Tsering Teykhang, for your enlightening words. Last but not the least, may I invite our Chief Guest, CTA Penpa Tsering to share a few words about this program.
다행 군전 조주 오늘 지금 너무 숨도 최고야 소리도. 그냥 숨나네 직 그냥 좀 냠용 직 셴에 야오메르 그래서 숨나네 직야 용한체 그냥 좀 냠용 갈사소. 디 레시디 배치 쉔바솔다 삼로 교와 칸데레스 텐소 디펜고 워마 지기 셴바 직다도 마 달마 주체 디지고 팽여 말마. 그냥 숨난 직 숨게. 패슈. 디 냠용이 요래. Yeah, sure. Sure. No, I'm asking one of the students to come and speak. Because,
good idea.
Yeah, because they have to be impacted by this program.
Present here, especially to everyone. So spending all the time with them, and it was just one day that we spent with them, but it was like so good, and it reminded me that we all had this very little time together. But it was so memorable, and while talking to them, I really miss my grandparents, because like when we talked to them, it was all about suffering and their happy moments in Tibet. Now that like they're in refuge in here, and we don't really have this freedom, you know, that we have in Tibet, and of course like we miss all the moments there. And when they talk, it was so memorable. It was like so beautiful when they talk, and every emotions they spilled out, and everything was so good. And actually, it was so consumable, right? When we like talked to them, and it was just so memorable. I can't even express all the things, but I really, really miss them. And in Tibet, like we, the grandparents have all their beloved families, and they're now here in India, and when they like talk, it was so sweet, and they were like, sometimes I really do miss them. And when I remember I talking to my father, and he was like, I would say let's go to Tibet and have our yaks and all sheep's back, we'll be rich there. But he will be like, okay, when I go back I'll be dead, because he's a military chief, and then he have all these occupations, right? He have done all this kind of many occupations, being under a Japanese family, and then coming here and being a businessman and teacher and everything. The story of them were like so beautiful and memorable, and the mindset, I know there's a very huge gap between their mindset and our mindset, but like when we go through their memories and when we talk about their mindset, it's just so good. And I know we can't relate it that sometimes this huge gap between us never works, but it is our work to understand them and the way they think and the way they have been through. Like, it is our work, and we are obliged to do that. We're obliged to go through their mindset and work on it. So I'm really thankful to everyone, and thank you for your organization so much.
지야 배교대에 민로로 차대도 뱀발 하모래도 야야 투시 다다리 Aref International की 소수 Marilia Bellaterra Ming di sing song shujor Marilia Bellaterra lanu as a question. She had a very sing song name, and Federico Petrozzi 군인이 청와대 네 레시드단 제외톤에 수표를 단위 수지 연청할 때 레시드단 제외톤에 양아치 처벌에 대해서만 지금 크란스 초과 충주리 이탈리 나놀리아 아주 로칭에 망부치어래 아니 초과 치아요리 중화요리 나조주요리 초과 충주리 뭐라 이제 결직다 로고 하셔지 냠도 깔에 겹치 아니 베베트날리아 가주 두두지 로더 시기요리 한 디나네 다른 길이 디도 시메이나 다시 단다고 소수메 가나면 신체니 아지 젬베고 유스 아민 space of memories 야디 다음 두선바 아니 랑싱기 다 쉔게다 저를 차용도 당연히 비구슈에 다나이 가서 남줄라가 제등엔 주 다과를 시에데 부 계제주가 좀 많이 해보시 디 슈겐도 간지 탭기 요메시아 다 게럽수기 로규송버리 디 개청버리 이니 디 슈겐디 쉔베기 셈라 탭니 아니 지도 나올리야 갱케투야 그 학삼직 랩고요를 마도지기 제발 로유지고 계제 지제 년세 엔데 조버라 중조버라 로유nye 로유때 디제마지 배주해요 말이 배주 연구요나 아니 로유디 녀버체체 안 수수지기 균행기 지 표에 탑주기 내정관이야 배주 칸데스 당고도 전주 셴베 터네 마음바 미르블리아 유주 칸데스 시고도 전주 다야데 개춤을 해야 돼요. 디 사망에 탄다 베멜함랄이야 직수나시니 슈나 신체제 칸다 수수 서로와데 송유주 선바 아니 레시디 무유 펜 유백 디 누버 튼백이 나머지 랑싱 토용고도 와 오늘이지 인베스원자 아니 마릴리아 기겐히 프레드리코 콘주 로고체 오도 셰제다직 가주 투두도 셰디기 열에 아니 디 지단기 로규 즉 가수레 게럽솔이야 컨디슈체 예매기 중럽도 두 매버들에도 말해 먼저 또 망부 중요하래 디나네 학벌도 배우고 로규를 염슈칭에 멜빈 골스테인 콘서트 심바이나 다산에 망부치 신체 급 뒤두기 아니 지 표현하려야 지 깔래 잡네 되게 디냠도 전주 슈체 아니 배배기 로규즈마 공도지 딕투엔조 내한테 지기 토네 연대버리 안수기 다 도난 슈슈부지기 말에 맞으시기 셔마 아주 미리리 차샤기 바이네 가 벽로 중에 간데 신기와를 신 게스티베이나 네 파마잖아 고아로와 다단다 벽주 김전나는 유에데베야 로마카치 파마 별이와리 안 내주시라 과세요 말에 수수수 다 게럽잖아 마 고세기 랑가시다 요 말다 게란소절 전까지 슈셰 게란수로 유마 소난데지 마도지기 루유 고사 랑가시다 요 말봐 랍데나 데두 삼바 상로 수수수 로세 더버더버더니 강강신ям 게셰 데데요리 랍데나 간 요바다 수수 랑그 도난 체제 데버더버더니 로그인하니 로유 역신그리 마도지기 에 시바 가우차기도 와다 단단히 메인에 아주 미만나 마 신베갑데 벽을 로유 로중에 가져요서 삼발라 라와장에 공부도 차기도 와 뭐서도 왔디 라 뒤에 있는 뭐 아주 로유기 중럽기 심마샤베이나 아주 템바싱이 와요 말이. 템바 매와이나 아주 상마 양갱 냠용 사고 거래. 엔티야 고랑고랑기 evolution기 조당 가가지 차로라. 원디네 인주서마 전남디 개념을 차기열이 내주 시험바 체제 배주 당고야 돼 개념을. If I switch a little bit to English, Marilia and Federico both are from Italy. And we have a very long-standing relationship with the Italians from 15th century, or maybe 16th century, I think. For 16th century, the first Jesuits, Italian Jesuits, crossed from China over Tibet and left to Europe. That was in the late 1500s. And then we had the first church in 1626, I think, in Kuge. That was also started by Italians who reached from Goa. And then there were two other Italians who also started church in during Devasangba's time in Gyangzire. That these people came from Cochin. From Cochin, they went through Kanyakumari and through Bay of Bengal, through Kuch Bihar, through Bhutan, they came to Tibet. So those were the early Italians who came to Tibet. And then in the 18th century, we had the Capuchins, also Italians, of the San Franciscan order. Capuchins are ganju pebegi chadebasoro shire. Gyuda northern kemya cheje, gomra cheje chadebate so. They have long beards and coney hat because they don't care for wealth. They care for the welfare of people. So their main profession is also medicine. That's the way to reach out to. And Tibet was considered as one of the last frontiers where Christianity could not reach. So many people tried entering Tibet from different regions, but in 1705, the Capuchins came, and there were several groups replaced each other, and they were in Tibet till mid-1740s. I think Ocasio de la Carte was one of those, and he was one of those Italian who could speak very good Tibetan, one of the very few. And then, of course, there were also there was a fight between the Capuchins and the Jesuits as to who should have the right to spread Christianity in Tibet. And this went on for many years in the Vatican. So in 1717, Ippolito Desideri came to Tibet, and he was a Jesuit. So you have both the Capuchins and the Jesuits in Tibet around the same time. And from 1717 to 1721, Ippolito Desideri was there in Tibet, and he was witness to some of the most critical periods of our history when the Jungar came and Hasan Khan was killed during that time in 1718-19 period. So that was also the time when Manchus came into Tibet in 1720. So we have a very long relationship with the Italians over many centuries, but unfortunately we didn't have access to the records because all of the reports that were sent by the missionaries were in Latin, and they were sent back to the original churches, and now, only now, or maybe even Marco Polo's book became famous only a few centuries after he had died. So Ippolito Desideri's book also came into the public sphere only around 1925, just 2 centuries after he left Tibet. But it's quite an interesting story because till his death, they had to have a lot of court cases in the Vatican still about the territory, about who can spread religion, Christianity and Buddhism. So these are very long stories. These are also space of memories. For me, it helps because when I meet with ambassadors, when we meet with people from the Foreign Office, in April, the Undersecretary of State Azra Ziaji organized a meeting with like-minded ambassadors and deputy ambassadors in Washington, D.C., and I was able to talk to every single ambassador about our relationship with that country. So that was useful. So all these memories help you create, connect with people, and even small information are useful in breaking ice. You don't always need to be very, very serious, even in political meetings. Sometimes you can be a little more free and talk about other things, and these things really help build up your relationship with other people. Therefore, I think it's very important, as I think Deputy Speaker very rightly put it, and this program is a little different because this was an association between the younger generation of Tibetans and the older generation of Tibetans. And when we saw the pictures of people who have been interviewed, we found that some of them are no more with us. So this is life. So today we are together, tomorrow we are not together, so we have to make use of all the possible opportunities for us to learn about our past. Without learning about our past, it will be very difficult to chart our future course of action. So therefore, I really appreciate the effort of Marilia, however big or small you term it, but the bigness or smallness of issues depends on the impact of that project, not on the monetary contribution that represents those projects. So I think Deputy Speaker also made it very clear that this has a very impactful future, and this can be continued even without Marilia. You don't need Marilia to do this. You can do it every day. Just like you cultivate compassion, it has to be an everyday affair. Everyone of us have our relatives who are elderly, and those who are elderly, the problem is there's a lot of no patience in younger people to listen to older generation. And if you give little attention to our past, listen to the people around you. They need not necessarily be someone who should be very close to you or someone who is very away from you. If it is a Tibetan who has a story to tell, you have to listen, and it will help shape your future also. When we shijadwa drobe kaptwa ibaine chenga ngazu 계속한 적이요. 아니 총대 수수수로 자야 되게 금전치 가리 있으려면 총대 날 마자베 qabla gerabsu 마샤지 제투도 미만 손도 찍소제 치매이나 아니 gerab수시라 패도면 와. 대윤서말 마 총대 나 친구 참발라 수수 부기 파만다 연체대베기 파만되게 개마주야 직 제야 고급 중우도 디급대 gerab소래야 투셔시 주고요. 남아서 깔레드니 잡여버이나 알랭 아주 미코란 용아에 매르와. 간수 깔레 마잡이나 미코란 차에 요마랭 아주 미럽사바시야지 용아에 매레. 미럽사바 그 중원 점도 마인베기 미럽사바데 직 겨울음치 가시송 루퉁에치단 레든 루퉁에치 용아에야 크란수 깔레 겹체 중원인도 삼발이야 가두인행에 gerab소 투셔시니 또 주고요. 이 슈고에게 금전 몸부지 돈을 주고요. 돈다 댐베 돈을 주고요. 수수인에 직대시 로데오르스도 gerab소리야 직 거진지는데 체투송 삼체 온디네 인류는 남아서 다른 디날 차시 란체 한 개나 남아서다 한 개서 이마도 추용도什么 로줍딘 접게 포사들이라도 상월로 뒤뒤 박라게 제 얘기를 달래 잡이 얘기를 다 단다 로데가 시알렙데버리 얘는 냠용 디가 디 쇼바 디게들라 시에체 얘는 콘솔레 군주기 귤이야 너무 표현한 데 중도가 시아치다 단다 보면 숨은 나신 뺨을 하나 숨은 나신 체니 개한수냠도 계시도서만 뭐라는 그 보라 전수 손시아들이 여러봤다 근데 지금 망부지 간달 쉬게 셈 나로를 심규태 퇴하기 내가 제가 다가라냐 공로 되것이 패요할 때 가진 치에시니 이슈아이 아니 롭두 다닌 패통의 숨리 디나 냠슈낭에 텔레망아 요래 아니 가시니 랍다 퇴니 패투에서리 별이침되네 도시에운도 삼아들도 창가데 슈마 톨업을 침배 갑도바 그냥서 미리 심바 망고 투구로 봐. You will be meeting a lot of other people from around the world. when you go to join universities. So you should prepare yourself to be in a condition to explain the situation of Tibet, listening to elders and reading by yourself, talking with other people. So you have many ways of getting information. 누바단 디게디 벼집에 짜도용 털 가지고 뿡 투사 레시야 디 삼타인도 내주 마시나 뿡투에 어마다 내주 샴베이나 뿡투에 요리 로유 야고친 때베이나 산이치 깨지시살이야 개미지 수조바 자요네레 로유 톤에 수바 자요네 미셔바지기 셰용베이네 파 커도 셰요라 수 샴베토네 마신베이는 칼주 균데르드네 한 셰케요 말에 지금什么 단다 딘줄레림들 주기 넘버 솔된주 처지시야리아 펜토요리 뒤에 개청부시지제들이 먼저 내가 망부요 단다 내가 망타줘요 두주 때 시간에 책이도 돼 이내 청하다 내 자체 공 관련계 대표를 공소 쉔바 청하 다른 가지고 얘기 제림 주보다 안도시 마자체 즉 아주 지카시 지시에 된주게 매럽 쉔바 줄직 팽규나 안식 야구시원설의 삼체 도신 잡으지 아니 여기 단다 점령하는 거네 딜리아직 tumbyur 자란조 ten주릭도 레신조 아주 가주 투두지 염루 돈 제토이네 치미기 돈한 천이요도 나란수게 진우버냐무 제토이네 야우시다 요레 성도. So I don't have much problem with Italian pronunciation. So I know Marilia Bellaterra and Federico Petrozzi. Sorry. The name, the meaning, the Takjadi Mado. Petrozzi.
Yes.
Petrozzi. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For all your effort.
Thank you.
And keep continuing. Thank you. This is also in the name of your parents.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And for them, they are like their parents.
Yes.
Yeah? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to hand over the platform to our Tibet Museum Director, Tsenzin Thupden, to conclude this event with a thank you note. Thank you everyone and have a nice day ahead.
Aref International Onlus ki sumde gi dari mansude mixe temde kangi jushi tembe kogi the space of memories gi unje zevola ani chike kunju pande sigong Penpa Tsering chota mixe kunje soshen tomasiri lata desum kane eri tomala cho yukim unzi ye Tsultrim Dorjee lata Aref International Sokso Jam Marilia Bellaterra, push-up Dr. Federico Petrozzi, Nangsi Tungji, CTA Tungji, the Tumbash, she and Shunde Mayimbe push-up. She Kunje Tang and Sagi Bayongla, Ye Pimitizu, Tundeba Subshije, Toma de la New Tavan Station. The Tujeli Bigi Sungshi de Ingetana Shishoji. I belong to the Tibetan generation who were born and brought up in India and heard stories about our fatherland through our ancestor who escaped from Tibet. I believe my generation has moral responsibilities to preserve and promote our rich cultural heritage of our future generation, to our future generation and world at large. The future generation are exposed to widespread effect of digitization and globalization, and it is high time that we need to do something for our new generation to give the first-hand information about Tibet and its rich cultural heritage. So the space of memories is one of such initiative which enables the coming generation to connect with the generation which has lived in Tibet and have breathed the fresh air of independent Tibet. It is crucial to pass anecdotes before it is too late. Hence, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Ms. Marilia and Dr. Federico for collaborating with the Tibet Museum for featuring their special exhibition theme, The Space of Memories. Indeed, this is actually in sync with the motto of the Tibet Museum, because we firmly believe in collecting and conserving and finally connecting it with the younger generation. I would also like to thank my sincere gratitude to Chief Guest Sikyong Penpa Tsering for taking out time from his busy schedule and also and sharing his profound thoughts with us. I would also like to thank special guest Deputy Speaker Dolma Tsering for gracing the occasion with her presence and for her kind words and emphasizing the importance of archiving the memorization and advocating digitization of system in this information era. Thank you, Tsultrim the Director of TCV, for sharing us your experience while working on this project and also representing the 12 students who have participated in it. I highly appreciate Mr. Tenzin for representing Jampaling Elders Home in the event and accepting our request to speak today in such a short notice. Thank you, CTA for gracing the occasion with your presence. And tari nganzu tembe goyu la lecher nalungu sunyamshin nange jikunzu da genso kan gengo chenga de pebache ante pitim de gisu yangla ani khaba ne pujana shoni shen kunju da sarge bo yongla tringi zebor chaba katinche ani zebor tubai